Alright, I'm gonna do a quick video about Neo 3 combat because my friend who loves FromSoft games and Elden Ring or whatever says Neo 3 or just Neo in general is the same as Elden Ring and FromSoft games, which is crazy. As far as combat is, it's like insane because obviously Neo is way more crazier and complex. But I'll just make a video to show that, and maybe anyone that wants to watch and learn about some of the combat and Neo, and it might help you, like, I don't know, progress through the game. But we'll start in Samurai mode. So Samurai mode has your 3 stances that you switch through, and they all have different attacks. So this is just a simple X attack or light attack in mid stance. So that's just tapping X 3 or 4 times. That's how it looks in mid stance. This is how it looks in low stance. Pretty different. And then this is how it looks in high stance. Different. Right, that's just pressing X. That's not even like you slot that into, that's just simple attacks. And then you can press Y. This is just tapping Y twice in mid stance. It's different. You can only do it once in high stance. And this is how it looks in low. It's just tapping Y, right? You can hold Y, and this is a slotted ability. So this can be different in each stance. Your hold Ys can be different. So this is how it looks in high stance. And you can finish that off by pressing X. That was a hold Y attack with finishing it with X. This is a hold Y in mid stance, which is an ability you slot, and then in Y, this is a different ability. So the hold Ys are all different in each stance. All the just basic, like you can't even slot these simple attacks. The basic X and Y attack you can't even slot. But let's say up Y. Up Y in mid stance is a deflect. Or no, it's just that. It's just like an AOE. And then I have my low Y or my back Y in mid stance is a deflect. So if I had an enemy, I would go around them and counter them. That's in mid stance. In low stance, my up Y is a counter. So if I parry an attack with this, it's a counter. And then my low is this, which deflects projectiles. That's low stance. And then high, my up Y is like a AOE spin around thing. And then my low Y is I think like or my back Y and upper is it's like you can knock the enemy off their feet. Some shit if I get it. There. See how it goes towards their feet? Anyways, so that's all. That's just different. That's just some of the different attacks that you have in Samurai stance. High stance has 8 different slotted abilities that you can have. Like look, this has 5 different attacks I can do. This one has 3 or 4. They're not all that have a bunch, but look, there's all different ones. And some are only you can have in high, some are only you can have in high and mid. You know, they're not all the same. So like I was trying to show, like all these are mostly different in all the stances. I have most different abilities. And that's like the basics of it, by the way. I didn't go over key pulse or anything. So the biggest thing in Neo is your key pulses, right? So this will help people. I guess I was just trying to prove a point at first to say how this is way different than Elden Ring, but now I'll explain some basics of just combat and key pulsing. So a simple key pulse is just pressing RB to get your key back. If you look at that blue bar, right after a combo, I'm done. Okay, I want to get my key back. Boom. That's just a simple RB key pulse. But then there's a thing called flux. Is when you key pulse, you switch stance. So I'll go from mid to high or mid to low, and I'll get my key back, switch stance, and also get a little bit more key back. But then there's also you can flux, you can like double flux, which is when you switch switch to two different stances after an attack, right? So I'll go to low, I'll key pulse from high to mid, and that's a double flux. So I'll go high to mid. That's a double flux. And then also, on top of that, you have your moon attacks, which is when you key pulse, and you also attack. So I can stay in mid, and I can stay in mid stance and also do a key pulse attack, staying in mid. Like that. But you can also switch, obviously, to all different, to any of the other 2 stances. So I'll switch to high with the key pulse attack. I'm sorry, that wasn't even it, but I'll do it again. So I switched to high with a key stance. I switched to mid again. It's an attack. So that's just your moon attacks from key pulsing. Switchclave has a thing which I did accidentally earlier. Is when you switch stance mid combo and keep the combo going, it doesn't count as a key pulse. So I'll do it again. I'll go from mid to high, and then I'll continue the attack string in high, and then I'll end with a flux back into mid. If you kind of catch that. So I'll start in mid, switch to high mid combo, and then I'll flux into low mid, and that will help you like understand samurai a bit. You see that? So I did a full attack string and I did a full X combo in mid, and then I switched to high mid combo. I did another attack in high, and then I switched. I fluxed my key pulse into low mid to get all my key back. I'll do it again. There. But anyway, so you could do that with all, in any of the different, like you could do that any stance to any stance. So attack in low, switch to low, keep attacking in low, and then flex to high or whatever, or flex back to mid. And then there's combos you can do, like XY will give you a cyclone win, and then you can finish with another Y. So this is a cyclone, XY, and then you can, if you time, and then you can tap Y at the end of it and do the ending cyclone combo. So boom, like this. Hold on. There's a little extra attack at the end there, and then you can also, after that, switch into one of the other stances, right? So, hold on. Like that. So I switch to high, and I'll key pulse into low to get my key back. And like that X and Y of this is the cyclone, right? But in low, it's a kickbox or whatever they call it. And I can switch into mid, switch into high, finish out the combo, and key pulse out. That's just samurai. And that's like kind of the basics of it, but you also have your Y attacks in your jumping attacks in the different stances. So hopefully that explains some of the complexity, right? Just samurai, which is much more complex than ninja. Ninja's a lot more simpler, but you still have all your different input abilities, right? So up Y, down Y, all your normal attacks. This is holding X combo, but you can just do it by pressing it. You can't even do that shit in Elden Ring. Fucking every ninjutsu or every ninja weapon has misstep, which is just this. You see how my character spins like that? It's a dodge. But in a with the split staff, the special thing about the split staff is my misstep can just be this. I can pole dance away, and it counts as a misstep. So that's a special thing about split staff right there. And then it also has its B attack abilities. That I get around the enemy, do some lightning damage, some key damage. Right. So there's all these different strings. I can stay up and I can stay in the air with Y's. And then all your ninjutsus, the three in the bottom right, the 3 ninjutsus I can have equipped, literally is like 30 different abilities. So if I go over to ninjutsu, here's the 3 ninjutsus I can have slotted. That's literally like, I don't know, 30 different abilities you can slot in there. And then obviously all your different attacks that you can have. And for each weapon, you know. So these are all the ninja weapons. Let's just say this split staff alone, I can change these out and have it do what I want when I input that command, right? And then you have all your magic. So I have 6 magic slots, 6 magic talismans, and 2 summons. And then you can also slot all your items. You can have a 4th circle page in the bottom left there that has just items, and you can add. You know what I mean? So that's a lot of fucking That's a pretty complex compared to Elden Ring, where you just press X and press Y and have a light attack and a heavy attack, and then maybe you can jump and have a heavy attack. You know what I mean? And slot one ability. Like it's not even. It doesn't even come close into the complexity wise. But yeah, I hope that helps some people, and I hope it convinces some people that they're not even close as far as FromSoft games, combat wise. But maybe the samurai stuff might help some people as far as flexing goes, because that's really important. And it's tough to get used to in the midst of combat, but the more you practice, the easier it is. Anyways, that's it.